Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. Well, Ray Dalio says that gold and Bitcoin can melt up before a crash. And why does he think so? He thinks that the Fed and everything the Fed is doing is going to cause us to melt up. And I think specifically he's talking about the rate cuts, the easing that we are about to face. Right? Not only it started already, but not only in December, but into 2026. And he feels like all this can cause actually gold and Bitcoin to melt up and then hit a bubble top and then crash back down. But right now we know that there's this build-up pressure. Right? All of us could feel it. All of us are waiting for it. So I agree. Something's about to happen. Something is about to happen. And I think we're all ready for it. And when it does, there's going to be a lot of FOMO because a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines right now, waiting and waiting and waiting. And when that trigger hits, it's going to be massive. Massive. And you know, Tom Lee also agrees with that sentiment because he believes that that is exactly what's going to happen. He thinks that the slump was due to macro headwinds. Obviously, we had a lot of it. I talk about it all the time, like the thing with China, the Fed, and you know, tariffs, and now some bad economic data, obviously. But reversal is going to happen. And we could all feel it. And Tom Lee also thinks that it's going to happen as well. So just got to be a little bit more patient and wait it out. Ride out this period of staleness and volatility. Have patience. Remember, wealth is built by transferring from the impatient to the patient. The top Bitcoin treasury companies are certainly being patient. In the last week, even though it hasn't been a good week, 9 companies increased their holding. Only 1 decreased. But overall, if you add it all together, the top 100 public companies hold over 1 million Bitcoin. And that number keeps on ticking upwards every single week. So obviously, these guys do believe in Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's future will be like, right? What else? Kazakhstan said they're considering selling part of their gold reserve to buy Bitcoin. Awesome. What else can you say about that? More countries should think about doing that. Selling off their gold while it's high and buying Bitcoin while it's low. Just my opinion. All right. What else? Spot average order size. So you could see there are times when the whales start buying versus retail. So it's interesting to see that during our April bottom, retail was actually correct. Retail was actually loading up on that April bottom because we knew that something was going to happen, right? That fall to 70-something thousand was not the end of the cycle. Okay, that happened earlier this year. But you could see during crypto winter times, and sometimes when we start coming up, that's when the whales come in. The small whales and the large, ultra big whales start happening. This is very apparent, right? During like these long, prolonged like periods or crypto winter where you could see the bottom moments are filled with just nothing but green. These are the whales loading up. But since what? Since April till now, you could see you don't have a lot of whale buying nor retail buying. It's just kind of like institutional buying at this point. But you could see the very first green dot appeared on this big whale order. They're starting to buy, right? kind of what I've been saying. Like everyone feels it. We've been suppressed for too long, far too long. This is the period when we start moving. So I think even the big whales know that. Or they're the ones that go move the market. Either way, it's encouraging to see that we got a green dot after waiting for 6 months without one. All right. Bitcoin holders are hurting. Here's why that's bullish. This is referring to this. Whenever you have a large percentage holding at a loss, that's usually a bottom point. And right now, it's the same thing. We saw it back in April. We saw it back in September of last year. We saw this at the beginning of 2024. So actually, this is just like measurement capitulation, basically. How many people are selling, so how many people are like at a loss, right? And usually that's a bottom moment when we turn back up again. So that is good in a way. It's kind of like the fear index. You know, the fear level went to 22 recently, and that is the same level as April. So history doesn't always repeat, but it does tend to rhyme. And we see a lot of similarities whenever Bitcoin finds that bottom and flips above. Here's something else that's comparing Bitcoin's level to gold and whether or not we're in the sell zone or buy zone. And this is certainly in the buy zone. We haven't seen this kind of level versus gold since 2023, when Bitcoin was still in the 30s and 40s. That means Bitcoin has a lot to catch up to in terms of gains. So that's also a bottom indicator. You know, last few things, basically, we're all waiting. We're all waiting for that next leg up. This cycle has been very different than previous cycles. We have a lot of similarities, but also you can see how our movement is just so different. It's very calm and steady upwards rather than these parabolic rises, right? And it could continue like that. If we don't see anything by the end of this month and nothing in December, then I think that proves that basically our 4-year cycle, where you have 1.5 years of tremendous upwards movement and then 2.5 years of crypto winter, goes away. We could just continue to do this forever. Slow and steady rises, and we avoid 80% crypto winter drops. It could actually be a good thing. It's just that it's not going to be as exciting anymore. Then we got to a point where we matured enough where it's almost moving like gold, right? Which, I don't know. There's good and bad takes for that.